everybody. Welcome to another episode of the College Football Tailgate. As always, I am your host, XFL Jim, joined by the one, the only, Pokin' News. It is Chase Lupine Fiasco Sescoms, a.k.a. the Wolf of Oaklawn. What's up, buddy?
So excited to be here. So excited to talk about one of my favorite conferences in the land.
The Mountain West Conference
Yeah,
is magical and wonderful,
Just
even though they don't have divisions this year.
so much exuberance. So much exuberance.
We are also joined by the one, the only, very special. It is Uncle Rico. Eric, what's up, my man?
Dude, in the middle of a monsoon, loving life, my friend.
Did you guys get storms up there? We were supposed to get storms here yesterday, but nothing happened. It just got really orange and purpley outside.
We had New Orleans heat today, and then we had
hot, huh?
Oh my God, it was so hot, and then it was just a monsoon. It's still a monsoon right now.
It was beautiful here today.
The hot that's like you walked face first into a hot, wet blanket as soon as you leave the door. Like that's my speed. Like people have told me there's dry heat, and I don't believe that shit at all.
You're more of a steam room kind of guy rather than like just a bracing sauna.
Put me in that sauna with all them hot rocks.
I lost 5 pounds today just being outside.
Nice. So we are previewing the Mountain West. As always, we're going to go alphabetical order. There are no divisions to go through, as I said earlier. Boys, great conference, fun conference. Let's get right into it. We're starting with Air Force. Win total is set at 8.5. The over is -105, under -125. Conference future set at +425.
Air Force is returning 63, 5 offensive and 8 defensive starters. The main thing with them is Daniels, their all-world quarterback, who was a 3-year starter, second in school history, is gone. It's looking like Ben Britton is going to be the starting quarterback. Obviously, a big drop in production. Losing someone like Daniels is a huge blow. Another blow is they're losing running back Brad Roberts. He's been the best running back the last 2 years. Losing him, obviously, big blow. He was their all-time leading fullback rusher and third in the history of the program. We need to remember running this triple option. The fullback's kind of like the key guy here. So losing him, another big blow. So you're losing your starting quarterback and your best running back. Wide receiver, they lost their two key positions. They're going to be without their top 2 wide receivers, and Patterson, the tight end, is gone as well. Even though they don't throw the football that much, they really don't have anyone with experience on the outside to make some plays. Offensive line, they're only scheduled to lose Isaac Kutrin, but first team all-conference left tackle Everett Smalley was dismissed from the team in May. So they're going to be losing 2 starters, and losing your all-conference left tackle in spring is a huge blow. D-line, they're only using 1 on this unit, which is huge, but they're switching schemes to a 4-2-5, which we've seen in the past. It usually takes 2 years for these kids to develop to the change in scheme. Linebacker, the good news is they're returning 6 of their 8, but they did lose their top 2. For this unit to be solid, Alex Mock and Jonathan Youngblood need to take a step forward, as there's a great amount of pressure on the linebackers in the 4-2 scheme. DBs, this unit is returning everyone, but in March they took a huge blow with Ian Casterberg, tore his ACL and is out for the season. Again, another unit who's replacing one of their better players. They're losing their kicker and their punter, which is a huge blow. Schedule is doable. They should be favored probably in 10 games. But when you just look at who they're missing, they have a lot of questions on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. They're changing schemes. They lose both their kicker and their punter. But I'm looking, where are we finding 4 losses on the schedule?
The schedule breaks very nicely. All of their toughest games at home, except for Boise at the end of the season. It's tough. It's tough to see this many losses.
I really want to take this under, but I don't see 4 on it though.
Here's my deal though, is I think that you have to consider the NCAA rule changes with blocking and blocking below the waist and how much that's going to impact not only their scheme, but the schemes of every single service academy. And so I find myself much cooler on, because I mean, that's what they're all undersized. They're used to, cut blocking to try to even the playing field. I'm afraid that if you take that away from them, then they might really be in trouble.
They did get the ability to like up their lineman size at least. I think the service academies did get that passed.
Yeah.
Where their boys could be a little bit bigger, but I'm kind of with Chase on this one where I'm just, as the years go by, I'm going to probably just start fading the service academies more and more because I just feel like more and more rules are going to come against them. Let's get into this schedule. Starting off with Robert Morris and then Sam Houston at a neutral site.
2-0.
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0. Utah State at home after that.
3-0.
I'm right there with you.
I'll give him that one too.
At San Jose State and then San Diego State.
0-2.
Like back to back is tough.
I don't know. Like, I think they would lose one of these games. I don't know which one, but I think one of these games they'll fall.
Their home field advantage is deceptive. I'm going to give them an 0-2 here too, but I would not be surprised if they beat San Diego State at home. But I'm going to give them 0-2. Off the bye week, it's Wyoming, and then it's at Navy.
1-1.
Guys, I'm going to let the rabbit out of the bag. I love Wyoming this year.
Eric, all three of us. Spoiler alert, everybody. Yeah. We all love Wyoming this year.
hence the name Pokenyas.
Me and Chase have talked extensively about our love for Wyoming.
I think so. We're all going to have the same futures, then, basically.
I'd probably, at least that one.
I've got two. That's definitely one of them. Yeah.
I got them 1-1 here, though. I'm with Chase. I think I still think Air Force is the best service academy.
Oh yeah, I'll go 1-1.
At Colorado State after that, and then Army.
I think they win both.
I'm going to give them Army.
I'm going to go 2-0. That Colorado State's a little. I think Colorado State's massively improving this year. I think they're going to be a sneaky team, but I'm going to give Air Force this one just based on consistency and coaching. I'm also going to give them Army. So I'm going to have them going 2-0 here. Then it's at Hawaii, UNLV, and at Boise State to finish off the season.
I could see them losing at Boise State. I got them at 3 losses.
I got them at 2-1. I got them at 2-1.
I mean, I had them finishing right at 6 wins. So just whatever.
Oh, sorry. I only have in this last stretch. I only have them losing at Boise. My bad.
Give me the last 3 games again.
So it was at Hawaii, UNLV at home, at Boise State.
I mean, I give them the win at Hawaii.
I gave them 2-1 there because I don't know. Maybe man, I might be sipping my Kool-Aid. I might be on my fucking crack cocaine again because. Damn it, I think Hawaii is going to be at least fun. Damn it, me. Damn it.
With their 5'0" star running back?
Yes! I don't care about the running back at Hawaii. They're back to the run and shoot. I don't care. I could either see them losing at Hawaii or at Boise or UNLV. I could see them losing like one of these ones. I wouldn't see them losing more than one of there. I am with Chase. I have them at 6 wins. I could easily see 7. I think they definitely make a bowl, but
I think they should thank their lucky stars that they're the best service academy and get to play the other 2 service academies because those might be the 2 games that get them bowl eligible.
It very well might.
Because I'm looking at it. I mean, I have their losses. San Diego State or San Jose State, Wyoming, and Boise State. I got them at 3. Where am I going to get these other losses? One more loss to play this under at. Like that.
I say the other of San Jose, San Diego State. And then I say anywhere from at Colorado State or UNLV is probably your most likely. I'd say it's either the other of the San Diego State and San Jose State or it's Colorado State on the back-to-back after playing Navy.
Yeah, but these service academies, they usually don't have the traditional flat spots.
That's true. That is fair. That's just where I would point to. But also, I'm staying away because it's minus 125.
Yeah, I'd get about it.
Are we all staying away from this one?
Yeah, too juiced up at minus 125 for me.
Yeah. Eric, are you proud of me for not taking all these juiced up?
I'm proud of you, dude. That shows you're maturing.
Chase, last year I was all jumping on like, oh, minus 140? Fuck it. Give it to me. I don't care.
It's just money you found in the street at that point.
Damn right it was. Up next, we have the Boise State Broncos. Win total is set at 8.5 as well. Minus 130 on the under, plus 100 even money on the over. They are your favorite to win the Mountain West Conference at plus 185.
Returning 37, 9 offensive, 5 defensive starters. 3-year starter Hank Batchmere is gone, so Taylor Green is going to be the starter.
I think that's an improvement.
But he's got accuracy issues. And read a local paper the other day. It said it's still not the best, still having some accuracy issues. Running backs could have 2 players flirt with 1,000 yards each. George Huline is back. He rushed for 1157 last season, as well as Austin Gentry, who set a record in the bowl game with 178 yards, had 878 on the season. These two will be the focal point of the offense. I think there's going to be some value on their player props to start the season. Wide receivers, they are returning a lot. But again, their wide receiver / tight end room is a bunch of guys that are 2 or 3 options, no real number 1 option. So when you don't have a playmaking wide receiver and a quarterback with accuracy issues, that could lead to some problems when they face a team that's good against the run. Offensive line, once they made the switch to Green, the sacks went down and the rushing yards per game went up. More mobile quarterback, that kind of makes sense. This year they're losing 2 starters, and they happen to be the left tackle, who was first team all conference, and the center, 2 most important positions on the offensive line. So that's going to be some big holes to fill. Defensive line was the strength of the team last year, but they are losing Scott Malik along with 3 key players, one of whom was a starter. They're bringing in 3 Power 5 transfers. But I don't think this unit's going to be as good as last year's group at all. Linebacker room, this unit had a great season last season, had a lot of questions, but everything came together. They did use Zeke Nola, who is second team all conference, but DJ Skaram is back, and he was their leading tackler. I think the unit's going to be just as good as last year's. DBs, this unit took a huge blow. They're losing 2 all conference players in Skinner and Biggs, and let's face it, Skinner was what, 2nd round draft pick. Losing someone that good is a huge blow to any unit. They're going to take a huge step backwards in my eyes. Special teams, returning everyone. They have a senior kicker who is 2nd all-time in kicks made for the history of Boise State, which is huge. Good unit. This unit alone is going to win them a game. Overall, they're using a lot on the defensive side of the ball. Have a quarterback with accuracy issues. Don't have a true wide receiver and a tough schedule. I would lean the under 8.5 if I had to make a bet.
That's kind of where I sit too. Schedule breaks down so rough for them. Out of conference does them no favors. They get their toughest opponents are all on the road for the most part. This is yeesh. Let's get into the schedule, boy. Oh, go for it, Chase.
At least the one thing that I see that they have going for them is they're at least returning a big time playmaker at quarterback, like Uncle Rico kind of mentioned. It's just, it's hard to tell what they're going to be on defense when they're losing starters at pretty much every single level.
Exactly. Let's get into the schedule. So they start off at Washington. Yeesh.
Washington's pretty good.
Yeah, that's an L. UCF at home afterwards.
Oh, that's doable.
That's doable.
It is doable. I'm gonna give them the win here, but that's not easy. It's not easy. North Dakota after that.
That's
win.
A win.
That's a win. At San Diego State, at Memphis, back to back.
I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to give them the win with San Diego State, but the loss at Memphis. I have this thing about teams crossing the Mississippi or crossing the Rocky Mountains,
I think it's just...
I think either 1-1 or 0-2 is fair. I'm going to be a little optimistic and go 1-1.
I mean, I think they can go 1-1 would be huge for them.
San Jose State and then at Colorado State going into the bye week.
San Jose State coming off a bye too.
I think that's 1-1 again.
Yep.
I might go 2-0, but I think 1-1's probably more likely.
Off the bye week, they get Wyoming at home, which is nice.
But Wyoming's coming off a bye too.
True. I'm going to give this one to Boise State, though.
Okay.
I'm giving it to the Pokes.
I don't hate it, Chase. I don't hate it. At Fresno afterwards.
I think this is a must win. I think they win this game.
I think they lose this one. I think between Wyoming and Fresno, they go 1-1.
Okay.
That's fair.
New Mexico at Utah State, and then Air Force at home to end the season.
I think they can go 3-0 to close it out, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I think so, too. So I have them sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have them at 8.
I got them at 8 wins on the dot.
I was also at 8, and with that total at 8.5, going under -130. Ugh, gross.
No.
Do not want to touch this total at all.
No, too juicy, and not in the good way.
Especially when I think they could win, but just not the hook. Like that's that.
Stay away. Stay away from.
I'm not trying to live that life, dog.
Up next, Colorado State. Win total set at 4.5, -140 on the over, +110 on the under, +1,600 to win the Mountain West, baby.
Returning 37 offensive and 8 defensive starters. I like Clay Millen a lot, but the question is, can his offensive line protect him?
They were so bad.
The running back room, we have a lot of new faces, but the one I'm interested in the most is Kobe Johnson, who's transferring in from North Dakota State University. I think he'd be in line for a huge season if the offensive line can block. Wide receiver, they're only losing one. 80% of the production returns, plus they added a transfer from SMU and BYU. This unit, again, could be good if the O-line gives the quarterback time to throw the ball. Offensive line, last year the unit had 89 yards rushing a game and gave up the most sacks in college football. They only have one starter returning and are adding transfers from Missouri, Nevada, Lamar, and Monmouth throughout the starting unit. They have 7 freshmen coming in to build up the offensive line. The issue is you're bringing in 4 transfers, 1 starter returning, and the worst offensive line in college football last season. And if anyone gets hurt, you have a bunch of bright-eyed freshmen taking their spot. Kind of has a little bit disaster written all over it in my eyes. Defensive line. Kamara is back for the defensive line. They added Pierce from North Dakota State. I think the addition of Pierce will make this defensive line very tough to run against, and I think it's going to be better than last year's team. Linebackers are losing Jackson and Carter, who started 4 years, which is a huge blow. I know they're adding a transfer from Cal and Grayson from Utah Tech, but when you have 2 dudes, not one, but 2 dudes that were 4-year starters in the middle of your defense, just replacing that leadership is so hard to do. DBs, best part of the defense, are returning all 4. They're adding transfers from Foreman, North Dakota State, and Oregon State. Special teams are losing their kicker from last year's unit, but they're adding a kicker, Jordan Knowles from Utah, which is an upgrade. Obviously, an upgrade in kicker, going to be a better unit this year. Overall, my thought is this. I don't trust their offensive line. And I think next year is the year. I'm 1 year away in Colorado State.
I think the entire season hinges on the offensive line because I think they have really good setup. They have like everything in place to be a good team, except for a functional offensive line. And if this, like Eric said, if 1 or 2 guys get hurt, this season could just be another disaster. It could be
Consider that they gave up 59 sacks last year. That's almost 5 per game. And they only gained 2.8 yards per rush.
The Philadelphia Stars of the Mountain West.
Yeah, pretty much.
Philadelphia Stars of the Mountain West.
disgusting. Like, if this offensive line is even like semi-competent, this team is a sleeper, I think.
But that's the big if, dude.
That's the big if. Eric, I might take a swing. I don't know.
Here's the thing. So with how sports books are now, you can take futures. Okay. Now, when we look at how they open up their schedule, what do you guys have them after the first 3 weeks? Because their bye week is September 9th.
Yes, they have a week 2 bye week. Let's just get right into the schedule then. So they get Washington State, then it's bye week, then it's at Colorado, at Middle Tennessee.
So my point is this: if you think they're going to lose to Washington State and Colorado, they're going to be 0-2. But if we see their offensive line being good, we know the defensive line that they're going to face in conference is going to be a step down from these two. I think that's when we lock in the future if we like what we see from Colorado State on September 17th.
It's not a bad play.
I can't disagree with anything you just said.
I'll add on to that, Eric. If I see how they look against Washington State, I might even take them to upset Colorado.
Which I like that too, just because I think Deion's going to be a little worse.
It's a big rebuild. It's a big rebuild at Colorado.
I think the trap with those early games is reading too much in. Like, if they have a great game against Colorado, like reading too much into what Colorado might be, like that seems to be the trap for mid-season betting. But I'm with you. If they show up against Washington State, yeah, I might change my tune.
So after these first 3 games, Washington State bye week, and then Colorado at Middle Tennessee, I'm going to be realistic and probably have them at 0 wins.
I've got them at 1-2 with the win against Middle Tennessee.
I don't hate it. Chase. And I love that chain.
Yeah.
After that is Utah Tech and then at Utah State.
I think they'll beat Tech.
Yeah, I think they'll beat Tech.
Utah State's got wins.
Yeah, I give them 1-1 with the win at Tech.
Yeah, I got them sitting at 1-1 right now. And then it's Boise State at UNLV, Air Force at Wyoming, San Diego State. Brutal stretch for conference play.
But homecoming for Boise State, boys.
I might take them to cover. I don't think they win, though.
I think that I'll give them the win against Air Force because I'm hard fading Air Force on my rule change angle. That's a brutal stretch for them, though. That might just be one win in that stretch.
I got them at 0-4. That's after the San Diego State bit. It's Nevada at home and then at Hawaii.
So it's 1, 2.
I'm gonna be nice and go.
I think I have 4 wins. I have them at 4 wins for the year.
That's kind of where I'm sitting too.
I got them at 5. I think I give them just an extra based off their defense a little bit in one of these like non-conference games, not against the Power 5 though. But yeah, I sit at 5. The total is at 4.5. I think it's an over, but it's an over that I don't touch at -140. Once again, where the difference is the hook. Like at -140, I don't mess with the difference being the hook.
I don't. The offensive line is the one thing keeping me fucking away from this. I wanna bet the under. I do, on the chance that this offensive line just collapses and then this team just loses every game. But I'm not going to take it. I'm going to stay away. I'm going to be stronger than that.
You're a strong-willed individual, Jim. I like how you've matured.
This is the year of maturation for Jim. Okay.
It's like I'm watching you grow up before my eyes.
Up next, Fresno State. Over under for win total set at 8 on the dot. Over is -145. Unders +115. They are +300 to win the conference, baby.
Returning 40, 4 offensive and 7 defensive starters. They are losing their starting quarterback, everything, Jack Hayner, which is going to be a huge blow. But University of Central Florida legend Mikey Keene is coming in. Will lighten the blow, but he ain't no Jack. Running back, they
No one
lost.
can be. No one can be.
First team all conference, Jordan Mills is gone, but they added his brother Devon and Cal transfer Damian Moore. These guys will lighten the load, but look, Mills was a stud. This unit's going to take another huge step backwards. Wide receiver room going to take a blow, just as the running back room and the quarterback room did. They're losing not one, but 2 all-conference players, plus their wide receiver 3 from last year. The top returning player only had 391 yards last season. They did add some transfers, but losing your top 3 is a huge blow. Offensive line, they're returning 4. They added a transfer from K-State. This offensive line is going to be rock solid. They'll give Keen some time to work. The question is, does he have the playmakers to do anything? Because there's a lot of questions because you're losing a lot on offense with your studs. Defensive line, the big question with the defensive line is, can they replace David Perales, who had 11.5 sacks last season? They have 3 starters back. They bring in some good JUCO transfers, but I don't think they have enough to replace them. I think this unit's going to take a step backwards. Linebacker room, this unit should be the strength of the defense. They're returning their top 3, plus adding Nomura from USC, and Phoenix Jackson has been the talk of spring ball. This unit will be good, maybe the best in the conference. DBs, unit was nails last season, but they're only returning 2 starters, and Dean Clark is transferring in from Kent State, but he's coming off from Achilles, and we've seen when these guys come back that first year from Achilles, it takes them, they're just not right. This room, their success depends on if the defensive line can create pressure. If they can create pressure, they're going to be fine, but they're not skilled enough to maintain coverage when a play that's going to last over 4.5, 5 seconds. Special teams unit was great last season. They're returning everybody but the returners. I think it's going to be similar to what it was last year. Overall, let's just say it out loud. You're losing your wide receiver, your top 3 wide receivers, your best pass rusher, your top running back, and your quarterback. But you do have a good coach. But your schedule, you play San Diego State, Wyoming, ASU all on the road. I would lean to the under, but it's at 135. Like, I can't play that.
No, the under is at plus 115.
The under's at plus 1. Oh, I must have been looking at a different book.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
I saw
the overs. Oh, I got the over 8 at minus 145 on, was it Bet Online?
Yes, sir.
Call me crazy.
But like Eric said, like the big thing for Fresno State, I still think they'll be a good team, but it's hard to envision them not taking a decent sized step backwards, losing what they lose. You can't lose a guy like Jake Hayner or a guy like Mills and not be worse for it.
Just all-time gritty American Jake Hayner.
Yes.
Like, but here's the deal. Even though they lost Jake Hayner, like, I've been such a unabashed fanboy of this team since they walked into Pasadena and stole a win from UCLA. Like, that I'm probably, no matter what logic says, I'll be on the over just because I have so much faith in Tedford.
I love him. I love
He's
him
a great
so much.
coach. But like, when you just look at what they lost, like, that's a ton, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's get into the schedule, boys. They start the season at Purdue, September 2nd.
Purdue.
It's doable. It's doable.
If they had
It's
more
easily
with
doable.
what Purdue's losing, I think Purdue gets the win.
I'm going to give it.
Don't mess around and schedule these Mountain West teams early in the season if you want to be perfect. That's what I say. I'm giving them the dub.
I'm giving them the dub here too.
Don't do it.
This is just a big coaching difference. Like, Purdue is in a state of flux, and anything when Purdue's, it's a weird spot because anytime Purdue's like feeling a weird season, that's when Purdue magic happens. But I don't think it happens here. I'm going to give Fresno the win. Eastern Washington at home up next.
I'll give them a win.
I'm at 2-0 right now. At Arizona State after that.
Another team that's kind of in flux, but I think they should win this game. I'll give it to them.
I'm going to give them 3-0 as well. I think we're all Eric's sitting at 2-1.
I got them at 2-1.
I'm sitting at 3-0. Chase at 3-0. Kent State and Nevada both at home.
Wins.
I got them at 5-0, baby.
I got them at 4.
at Wyoming and at Utah State after that.
1-1. Loss at Wyoming, win at Utah State.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 here.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Off the bye week, it's UNLV at home and then Boise State at home.
I'm going to go 1-1.
I'm going to go 1-1 here as well. If they lose to UNLV,
2-0.
they are beating the brakes off of Boise State, though.
Fair.
At San Jose State, New Mexico at home, and then at San Diego State to end the season.
San Jose State's homecoming. Ooh.
I'm going to go 1-2.
I'm
going to go 1-2.
I think this is where they could definitely like kind of come back down to earth, because I think those are three pretty tough Mountain West teams that they're facing back to back to back there to end it.
And I mean, when you say it out loud, the team's losing their quarterback, their running back, their top 3 wide receivers, and their best pass rusher.
They're replacing them with decent guys, like guys who are good. They're just not nearly as good as what they're losing. Like, I think the guys that are replacing a lot of what Fresno State's missing are good players, and I think Tedford could do a really good job coaching them up. Like, I still think this is going to be a good team.
Tedford beat cancer. He's 1-0 against death.
Yes.
Like, let's you know.
It's just hard for me. Like, I kind of lean towards the under with Eric. I could see this potentially being like a 7-win season, but that would be a pretty bad season. I think a lot of it comes to their out of conference.
I got him at 9. It's another one in the Mountain West that I don't touch because it's really juiced up at over 8 at -145. But because I mean, it could be that my disgusting fanboyism of Fresno State is misplaced, but yeah, I don't know. I just believe in the Bulldogs from the sleepy San Joaquin Valley.
I'm gonna take the under 8 at +115, and I'm gonna know whether or not I'm gonna cash this in after week 3. Because if they lose at Purdue and at Arizona State, this is going under easily.
I would agree. You very much hinges on Purdue and Arizona State.
I just took the under 8 principal play for me.
I'm taking it.
It wasn't a scheduled bet for the show.
We will know right away whether this under is hitting or not. Up next, my darling Mountain West Conference. It is my team, my babies. It is Hawaii. The Rainbow Warriors. Their win total is set at a mighty 3.5. The over is -120. The under is -110. They are plus 10,000 to win the Mountain West. 100-1, baby.
It could be 500-1, and I'm not touching that shit.
I do not blame you.
Returning 5. Returning 48. Returning 5 offensive and 9 defensive starters. Quarterback Brandon Shiger is back and will start once Chong put in the run and shoot concept. The offense started to take off last year. Running back room, I think they're going to struggle. They're starting a guy that is listed as 5'7", 175.
He's going to sneak through people, Eric. He's going to sneak through them.
What does that mean? That means he's 5'5", $150.
Right.
I mean, come on. Like, wide receiver, this unit has question marks. All their top guys are gone. The players they have returning very limited experience. They did add McBride from Kansas and have a good tight end room. I think they're going to lean on them. Chong's version of the run and shoot does incorporate the tight end. It's a little bit different than June Jones. Offensive line, young group, only has one guy with experience. They're going to be replacing not one, but 2 off all-conference players. Defensive line, they're losing 3, but only one of them was a starter. They're adding transfers from ECU, Washington, and Nebraska. I think this defensive line will be greatly improved compared to last season unit. Linebackers, they're losing 2 players, having much of its core back from last season. No real stars in the unit, but a lot of good pieces. DB secondary will be the strength of this team. They are losing 2, adding 2 JUCOs, and they got Cameron Strong from Wyoming. Solid unit, will be better than last year's. Special teams are adding a new punter. So Shipley, who did both last year, can only focus on kicking. I think that's going to be easier. I think it's going to improve. Again, look, I think this team is 1 year away. I think this team is 1 year away from when we can target them in the future market. Offensive looked better last year as the season went on. They added more talent to the defensive side of the ball. Offensive line, the lack of playmakers at the wide receiver position, and starting a 5'0" guy at the running back, I'm a little worried. I'm going to wait till next year before I'm all in on Hawaii.
4 losses last year by 7 or less. 4 losses last year by 7 or less, all on the road.
Here's my thing. I've read so much about how little support there is for this football program, like on the island. Like people at the school literally just don't care about it. I mean, sure, you've got Timmy Chang, but unless Timmy Chang is actually going to start taking some snaps at QB, I mean, me not thinking they're going to have a football program probably in the next 5 years kind of sums up how I feel about this win total.
They kind of almost need to like revive Colt Brennan from the dead.
I mean, if there's anyone that's going to turn it around, it's Chang. Chang's going to, if there's anyone that can, it's going to be him. I mean, last year they're playing in a practice facility. They're getting a new facility. Maybe they can get something going. But I think Chase is right. If you had to bet money on what football team in 5 years is going to be around, you're going to bet
top of the list.
Yeah.
And the sport will be worse off for it. Let's get into the schedule. This does them no favors, honestly. At Vanderbilt to start the season. Big loss.
That's a big L.
What's an
big old L. Stanford at home.
That's another big old L.
But here's the thing with Stanford, though. They no Shaw, and there's 2 teams that don't do NILs, and Stanford's one of them.
I think Stanford's going to be shit.
Stanford Northwestern, right?
Yep. So I think that game's winnable. I mean, like, if they're going to win something,
I
think this is like potentially. I'm going to give them a loss here, but I think this is one. Depending on the spread, I might target this one. But damn, they could do it, especially at home. University of Albany, the Great Danes coming to Honolulu next. That's a win.
I mean, that is a win, dude. Those kids going to Hawaii probably for the first time. They're going to come on.
Yeah.
No. Now that we're past the Albany game, I can just lock in my answer for the rest of the games because that was my one. That was my one on the schedule.
At Oregon.
I'm going to say that's a loss.
I'm also going to say that's a loss. New Mexico State at home. I'm going to call it a loss, but that's gettable.
I'm going to say that's a loss.
At UNLV. So they beat UNLV at home last year. This is a loss.
Yep.
Even though Hawaii is what, the 5th island? Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Yeah, Las Vegas is the 5th island for Hawaii. Even considering that.
Bye week after that, San Diego State at home.
San Diego State's coming off a bye. I'd say it's a loss.
Yep. At New Mexico, loss.
Yeah.
That's a potential one, though. San Jose State at home. Loss.
Yep.
At Nevada.
Loss.
Because it's at Nevada. Air Force at home.
Loss.
At Wyoming. Loss. Colorado State at home.
I mean, maybe. Maybe.
So, that's the whole thing with this Hawaii team this year is, like, the only ones that we see are maybes. Like, there's no win. There's one win that I say confidently is a win. Every other win that I would pick for them is a maybe.
Hawaii, Colorado State. What's the total in that game? I think it's 15.
To start the season, probably 15.
I mean, geez. All right. So, what do you think the line is for? I'm gonna pull it up right now. Vanderbilt
minus 32.
32.
Dude, they killed them last year. I'm
gonna say Vandy minus 21.
Realistically, it's probably like minus. I'm gonna say minus 24.
17.5.
I'm taking Vanderbilt.
Yeah, hammer that.
Yeah. They destroyed them at Hawaii last year.
Yeah.
That was last year.
I know, and I took Hawaii and was embarrassed.
I tried to talk
me.
you off of that too last year.
This hurts me to do. I'm taking the under 3.5 wins on Hawaii.
Oh yeah, Hard under.
Yes, it
Under.
hurts.
It's one I would consider playing if I didn't have other totals that I liked for plus money.
I'm playing it at minus 110. It hurts to do. God. Stop talking about this fucking program right now. Nevada's up next. The Wolfpack. Over-unders, again, 3.5 for them, too. The over is minus 125 or minus 135. I can't read my own damn handwriting. The under is plus 145. They are 50-1, plus 5,000 to win the Mountain West.
Returning 44, 6 offensive, 8 defensive starters. Colorado transfer Brandon Lewis is taking over. Huge upgrade from what they had last year. Running backs, top 2 rushers are gone. Low player returning only had 37 yards last year.
Sheesh.
But they added Sean Dollar Bill from Oregon. Obviously, he's going to be the number 1. Unit's going to be the same as last year with the addition of Dollars. Wide receiver unit was awful last season, but they had to do more in my eyes with the awful quarterback play. I could see Campbell having a breakout season this year because Lewis is going to be more stable. Offensive line last year, it was a nightmare as they didn't have any starters back. So there are 9 different combination of players. This year, they're losing 3. Have 38 career starts. This unit will be greatly improved. Defensive line, they're losing Peterson, who is an all-conference player, but have transfers coming in from Cal and Utah Tech. Plus, their interior starters are back. Should be better than last year's unit. LB is solid unit. They're adding 2 players from Oregon to pair with Winston, who transferred in from USC. So they're starting 3 guys that played in the Pac-12 last year. Pretty good unit, one of the better ones in the conference. DBs losing both safeties, huge blow, but this unit, Coach Wilson is high on Tony, who played at a lot as a freshman. Maybe he'll take a step forward, but I just don't see it. Special teams, maybe they have the best kicker in the best kicker in the conference, but they need to find a returner. So their kicker's good, but where their return game is going to be a little questionable. Overall, they brought in talent the running back position, the linebacker position, but the trenches are my worry point. I have them getting to 5. I have them getting to 5 wins. I think they can get to 5, but I think that's their ceiling.
That's the number that I hit right on the nose at 5.
I can see it, but I think this team's still going to be pretty bad this year. Let's get into the schedule. They start off at USC.
Call me crazy, but you know what? I like what that Riley kid's doing out there in California. So I think
that Caleb Williams kid might be good at football. It turns out.
I call me crazy, man. But I think that USC team is pretty good, man. So I'm gonna give them an L.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think USC is gonna be decent. Idaho at home after that.
I think they get a win there.
Yeah, they take down the Vandals.
Kansas at home after that.
Whew.
I give them the L.
Went on the road.
I'm going to give them an L here too, but damn Kansas, watch out. That's a fuck around and find out when you go on the road to a Mountain West team. At Texas State, at Fresno State after that.
They'll beat Texas State. They'll lose to Fresno.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's what I got as well.
I got them at 2 wins right now going into the bye week. Out of the bye week, they get UNLV at home.
Who's also coming off a bye. I mean, like, this kind of depends how you feel about UNLV.
I'm going to give it a loss.
I give them the win by virtue of being at home.
At San Diego State after that.
That's a loss.
Loss for
That's
me.
an L.
New Mexico and then Hawaii both at home.
They could get a little hot here. They go on a winning streak.
Yeah, they go 2-0 there.
I got it. I got it. Got it 2-0. It's going to be tough.
They could get a little spicy.
Big mountain to climb.
And then it's at Utah State, at Colorado State, and Wyoming at home to end the season. I got them going 0-3.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I got them sitting at. I got them at 3 wins.
I got them at 5.
5 also.
Sorry, I got them at 4 wins. 4 wins. I'm still on the over, but I'm not. I don't want to touch it at minus 125, minus 135. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, staying away from that one. Up next, New Mexico. Win total also 3.5. We're kind of like in the bottom trudge of the Mountain West right now. The over is plus 110, the under minus 140. Again, plus 10,000, 100 to 1 to win the conference, boys.
Returning 38, 8 offensive starters, and a whopping 2 defensive starters. UAB transfer Dylan Hopkins is walking in, and compared to what the Lobos had last season, he's going to be looking like Patty Mahomes back there. This is a huge upgrade from what they were running out last year. Washington in the running back room, who was a freshman last year, was their second leading rusher. He returns. Plus, they're adding in Henry from Louisiana Monroe. Nice 2-1-2 punch right there. Wide receiver room, they have 6 of their top 8 coming back. Huge upgrade at the quarterback position. Plus, they're adding Medford from TCU. And I think their wide receiver room has some juice. Offensive line, good news is they're returning 5 players with starter experience and adding JUCO transfer. Plus, they get Davis back at left tackle, but they have to learn a new blocking scheme, which is going to take a while. I think this unit's going to take a couple games to gel. Defensive line, they lost their DC, who is basically their defensive line coach. Huge blow. They're adding Lopez from Washington State, who could have a huge season. Linebacker rooms, a lot of questions surround this unit as they have Littell returning, but he was limited last season because of injuries. Adding some transfers from the JUCO level, I think this unit is probably going to take a step backwards. DBs, they're losing 3 key pieces, but they're adding transfers from Oklahoma and TCU. With the addition of the talent, I think this unit is actually going to be better than last season. Special teams, they're returning everyone but their long snapper. I think they're going to be just the same, maybe a little bit better. Overall, I really want to take this over 3.5.
I'm going to start. Spoiler alert. Any team that I said could be a maybe win for Hawaii is a team that I'm down on. That's just spoiler. I'm not super high on this New Mexico team. Like, I think they could be a little bit better than last year, but they were god-awful last year.
What I see is that they didn't score more than 21 points in a Mountain West game last year, and they only returned 2 starters on D. That feels just like a prescription for a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. Let's get into the schedule. At Texas A&M to open the season.
Call me crazy.
I would love to give them the W here, but I'm giving them the L.
Chase would have the biggest smile on his face. I would also
So
have
big.
the biggest smile on my face.
That would be hot.
I think that's an L.
It's an L. Tennessee Tech, the Golden Eagles at home after that.
I think that's a win, baby. Let's go.
Hey,
That's
1-0, baby. Let's go. They got him at 1. New Mexico State at home after that. That's the loss.
I don't know, man. I think they could win that game. I'm not.
They
that high.
could. They could. But I think New Mexico State still stands as the superior New Mexico team.
I'm gonna give New Mexico a win.
Okay. At UMass and then at Wyoming.
I'm gonna say they beat UMass, but they're gonna lose to Wyoming.
I'm gonna have them 0-2.
I'm going to agree with the win at UMass, loss at Wyoming.
0-2 for me. Bye week. San Jose State and then Hawaii both at home off the bye.
1-1.
That's it. If they beat
1-1.
Hawaii, they're getting this over.
1-1. At Nevada after that.
Loss.
UNLV at home after that. Loss.
Winnable, but probably
It is winnable, but I'm going to give them a loss. At Boise State, at Fresno, and then Utah State to end the season. I got them 0-3.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got this team at 2 wins.
Got him at 4.
Maybe 3.
I got him at 3, so we pretty much got it surrounded, I think.
I'm not touching it.
Nope. Minus 140.
You're not going to touch that over, Eric, at plus 110 just to like sweat it out a bit?
I really want to. I'm going
to talk you into that eventually. I will get that talked into you.
I really want to.
Okay, up next, San Diego State. Win total is set at 7, plus 100. Even money on the over, minus 130 on the under, plus 750 to win the conference.
Returning 46, 6 offensive, 6 defensive starters. Quarterback Jalen Maiden is back. Looked great last season after he switched over to the quarterback position from the safety position after Crum broke his collarbone. Maiden went over 200 yards in 6 of 8 games. Honestly, I think he's in line to take a big step forward. Running back room, obviously, when you think San Diego State, you always think they have a good rushing attack. But that wasn't the case last season, as they only had 2 games where they had a 100-yard rusher. This season, they're adding Armstead and USC transfer Kristen, but it's unclear who the starter is going to be at the beginning of the year. Wide receiver room, this is going to be another unit where we don't really know who the number one is, who's going to be the chain mover. They do have all-conference tight end Mark Redmond coming back. I think they're going to lean on him heavy in the passing game. Offensive line, this unit struggled last season to protect. They're losing 2 starters, but they have 5 offensive linemen returning who started in the past. Hoke is very high in this unit and said it'll be better than last year's. Defensive line, Hoke is high on them, but I really don't see it. They're losing the Tavian brothers along with Banks. So basically, their 3 best players, the player returning is Grant Fountain, and they're adding transfers from Oklahoma State. But you're losing your 3 best players. I really just don't think they're going to be win at the point of attack and be able to create too much pressure or havoc in the backfield. Linebacker room, they're losing a lot. They're losing 2 all-conference players plus a key rotational piece. But then in the spring game, they took a huge blow when Patrick McMorris said he was leaving. They did add Cody Moon from New Mexico. I expect this unit to struggle. Secondary strength of the team, they're returning pretty much everyone. They're adding a transfer from Texas. Special teams, since 2019, they've had one of the better special teams units in the country. Even though they're losing their return man, I think this unit is going to be just as good as last season. Overall, I think this team wins 6-7. A lot depends how their season breaks. If Rourke is a go for Ohio. The stretch from 9-9 to 9:30 is brutal. They may not win a game. They have a lot of questions in key spots. I'm not high as Hoke as a coach, and they're lacking playmakers.
Maybe this is just me being biased, but I can't think of San Diego State in the recency and even before that. I think this offense, just boring and butt. I think just a flat butt.
Also, maybe this is me just being the conspiracy theorist, but with what's going on with them saying they want to drop out of the conference and now wanting to come back and having the Mountain West have a special meeting about it in a week from now, do we see them just getting hosed in games with calls?
They very well
I thought the same thing about Texas and Oklahoma this year in the Big 12. It totally makes sense for there to be some conference retribution.
I like that take. Let's get into the schedule. Ohio and Idaho to open up the home stretch.
I'm going to give them 2 dubs.
I think a lot with Ohio obviously depends on what's going on with what's-his-face.
Yeah, I think Rourke is a big dependent here, but I'm going to give him 2 dubs here because like Chase said, when teams got to cross the Rockies, things get weird.
All right, I'll give them 2 wins.
UCLA at home after that.
I think that's an L.
That's an L.
I think that's an L. At Oregon State after that.
I think that's an L.
I think that's an L as well. Boise State at home after that.
50-50 game, Friday night game at home. New stadium. We'll be rocking. I think they go 1-1 with this Boise State, Arizona Air Force back-to-back thing.
I can say
I got them 2-0 there with the opening the new stadium and then my fate Air Force.
I'm going to go 1-1 in this stretch. Then it's the bye week. Then it's at Hawaii and Nevada at home. That's 2-0.
Yep.
Next bye week. Then it's Utah State at home, at Colorado State, at San Jose State.
I go 1-2.
Yeah, I think they go 1-2 in this stretch as well, Chase. I think back-to-back's tough. And this is dependent on how Colorado State's offensive line is looking. Mm-hmm. But also maybe it depends on how feisty we think Utah State's going to be this year.
Yeah, a lot of questions. I'll go. Yeah, I'll say 1-2 also.
Then they finish the season with Fresno State at home. That's a loss.
Yep.
So I got them at 1, 2, 3, 4. I got him at 4 wins. 5. I got him at 5 wins.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got him at 6.
I've got him at 7, which sucks because it's right at the number.
Yeah.
If this was Fresno, you'd take that over any day.
I'm still actually, because it's San Diego State and we can kind of consider them Mountain West Blue Bloods, I was kind of leaning towards taking the over and the even money. But honestly,
That ref angle.
Yes, after Uncle Rico put the conference fuckery in my head, I kind of maybe lean towards the under, and this becomes a don't touch.
Sometimes the best bet is no bet.
Chase, you gotta get going kind of soon.
Yeah, I'm waiting on someone to send me the link, so as soon as I see it, I'm gonna pop off.
Do you want to just give us your totals real quick?
Yeah, now that I'm not on San Diego State, I actually ended up on 3. I'm taking UNLV over 6 at plus 115. I'm taking Utah State over 5.5 at plus 115. And I am on Wyoming over 6.5 at even money. And my 2 conference futures are going to be Fresno State plus 300 and the Pokes. That's the one I'm really high on, the Pokes plus 1,200.
I love that. Okay, our next team, though, San Jose State, baby. They're off the Nick Starkel stink, so Chase can actually root for this team a little bit.
Right.
Win total is set at 5.5. Over is minus 150. Under plus 120. They are plus 1,400 to win the conference.
They were our babies last year. They were. Returning a whopping 76. 9 offensive, but only 5 defensive starters. The quarterback is back. He was an all-conference player last year, second team. I expect him to take another step forward. Just in case he gets hurt, they do have Butterfield from Oregon. The thing with him, though, is he's not the dual threat. So they lose the aspect of the quarterback running if Butterfield does have to play. Running back room struggled last season, as they only had 2 players go over 100 yards rushing in a game. One of them was the quarterback. This year, they add Conley from Utah Tech, who rushed for over 1,000 yards last season. He's going to be the lead dog. He's going to be the alpha. Wide receivers, even though they're losing their top guy in Cooks, they do have Lockhart, who will be wide receiver 1, who is second team all conference. Plus, Nick Nash is moving to the quarterback. They have their top two tight ends back. I think this unit's going to be better than last season. Last season units, offensive line struggled last season as they only rushed for 96 yards per game, but it should be better this season as everyone is returning. Defensive line, this unit was dominant last season, but they lost Cade Hall, first team all conference, and V. Hoko, who was the defensive player of the year in the conference, plus another starter and 2 backups who played a lot. They added some JUCOs, but this unit is losing a ton of talent. Will take a huge step backwards. Linebacker room, this unit is similar to the defensive line. Big blow in losing Kyle Harmon, first team all conference. They're returning Jordan Cobbs, who missed last season with an ACL injury. Again, coming back from those injuries is always tough. Brian Pruman. So they have something there, but they're losing Harmon, which is a huge blow. DBs will be the best unit on the defensive side of the ball. They only lose 1 starter and bringing in DJ Harvey from Vatech. I am worried, though, they're due for some turnover regression. This team was one of the better teams in the country last year, creating turnovers. And we see that after a team does that a lot, the next year they kind of struggle getting those turnovers.
Get a little regression going.
Special teams unit struggled last season. And they brought in a kicker to battle the starting kicker for the position. Punter is gone. A lot of question marks around the special teams unit. Overall, they have a tough schedule out of conference, but they're returning everyone from the offensive side that did something except for their playmaking number 1 wide receiver. Losing a ton on the defensive side, due for turnover regressions. I think they win 6 games. I think they finish right at 6-6, but I'm not touching this over.
Getting Fresno and San Diego State both at home end of the season is nice. Having to go to Boise is tough. The schedule breaks out as thus. again, they start at USC.
I mean, just look at this schedule though. At USC, Oregon State, Cal Poly, at
Toledo, and Air Force.
I mean, that's brutal.
They win. I think I'm gonna give them one.
I think they win one.
Maybe Toledo is possible, but having to go to Toledo sucks.
What time's that game?
That game is at 7 p.m.
No, well, at least they
don't have the big early time jump.
Let's see what that spread is real quick. What do you think that spread is in the USC game?
That's going to be USC minus 31.
30.
I was close. I'm getting better at this. Eric. Also, no way are we watching that game because it's on Pac-12 network. Don't you love all these networks, Eric? Don't you just fucking love these stupid networks?
Guess who gets the Pac-12 network, buddy?
Are you hyped to have to watch 3 Notre Dame games on Peacock this year?
Jesus, dude. That's so dumb, dude.
It's so stupid. So stupid. So, yeah, I have them 1 win before the bye week. Is that where you're sitting too?
Yep, I got them at 1.
Off the bye week at Boise State, at New Mexico.
I think they lose to Boise, but I think they beat. No, I take that back. I think they go 2-0 here.
I think they go 1-1.
Because you have an experienced team. You're struggling to start the season. You have the bye. You get stuff relocated. You go into Boise. You pull out the upset.
I don't hate it. I'm gonna go 1-1 here.
So I have them at 2 wins. So I have them at 3 wins. You have them at 2.
Utah State and then at Hawaii.
I think those are 2 wins. So I got them at 4 off the bye.
Yeah, I got them at 2 wins right off there, and then.
So I got them at 5. You have them at 4.
Yes, I am at 4 right now. Off the bye week, then it's Fresno State, San Diego State, both at home, and at UNLV. I think they win one of those.
They won maybe 2. So see, we got them right at 6.
I got them at 5, maybe 6. 5.5, I don't want to touch. If anything, maybe I lean towards the under.
Mm-hmm.
But at plus 120, I'm right being at 5. I don't love it because I could easily, I could see a game or two flipping their way. Maybe with the turnover aggression, I hammer this and just pull the trigger and take the under, but I don't want to touch it.
Sometimes the best bet is no bet.
I'm learning, Eric. I'm maturing.
And I feel like a proud papa watching you grow.
You should be proud. UNLV is up next. They're kind of a darling for me, too. I think my favorite teams in this conference are Hawaii and UNLV. Their win total set exactly at 6. The over is plus 115. The under is minus 145. They are plus 1,600 to win the conference.
Returning 43, 6 offensive, 7 defensive starters. $1 million question is, can Brumfield stay healthy? UNLV 4-4 in games he started, and those 4 losses were by 7 points or less. In games he didn't play, the losses combined to 91 points. So, I mean, night and day difference when he's not there. Running back room, they're losing their top guy, but they got Vincent Davis from Pitt, who will be the bell cow. Plus, they have a backup in Humphrey, who will have a bigger role, going to be a 2 running back system. Ricky Davis was their number 1 last season, and he is back, the chain mover. They did pick up a good JUCO in DeSeuss. This unit should take a step forward from last season. Offensive line, the coach, Odom, did a great job adding players in the portal from the Power 5 conferences. If anyone gets hurt, it will be hard as they have 0 depth at this position. Defensive line, this unit lost one all-conference player, 3 key role players, and Shelton is moving back to linebacker. Interior looks good, but I have a lot of questions about if they're going to be able to replace Plant, who was their all-conference player they're losing. Linebacker room, this could be one of the best units of the defensive. Williams is back, and he provides great leadership. Sheldon is switching positions back there. Plus, they're adding Woodard from Arkansas and a transfer from Colorado State. Solid unit. DBs, they're losing 1 starter in Williams, but adding 3 key transfers that will pick up for the departure. If the pass rush can get home, I think this unit's going to be good. Special teams, are losing the best kicker in school history, and they could not protect the punter at all last season. I think this unit's going to struggle. Overall, 1 year away. That's all I wrote. 1 year away.
So there are 3 teams in this conference that are 1 year away in your mind. So is the Mountain West going to be extremely competitive?
I think next year the Mountain West is going to be a nails conference. But I mean, like, honestly, like, if this team was able to keep Bobby Paterno, what the dude who's at Texas A&M now, the offensive coordinator,
Petrino.
They were able to keep him because he was supposed to go here to be the offensive coordinator. I would love it.
I would love it too.
They don't have him though. I
God,
think
he should have been the head coach. He needs to be the head coach at UNLV.
But you just kind of look at their schedule. They got a tough little schedule to start, dude.
They do. It's similar to like a bunch of these teams in the Mountain West where a lot of these wins are like maybe wins. Every team that I would say could be a win, it's a maybe win. There's no like aside from like the usual suspects, there's no like capital W wins on this schedule.
Yeah.
They start the season off nice. Bryant.
I'm going to give him a win there, buddy.
Win, baby. Also, I forgot these guys are playing Allegiant now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're playing Allegiant.
That's going to look so fucking bare.
It's going to look not great.
It's going to
they're playing at Allegiant, sorry, tangent to like XFL. If they're playing Allegiant, why the fuck can't the Vipers play at their old stadium?
I don't know. Maybe they're tearing it down.
I don't fucking know. Whatever. At Michigan, loss.
Yeah.
Color me shocked there. Vanderbilt at home after that, loss. Smart on Vanderbilt for scheduling like the worst of the Mountain West when they're doing it.
Dude, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. They got to get to 6. They got to bolster that SEC blood. At UTEP.
That's a loss.
Hawaii at home. I'm going to say that's a win.
I got them at 2.
I got them at 2 as well. Off the bye week, it's at Nevada. Potential. Maybe.
Potential win, but Nevada's coming off a bye too. I'm going to give them a loss.
I give him a win here. I'm going to give him a win. Colorado State at home after that loss.
I'll give them. Oof.
I think they go 1-1 between Nevada and Colorado State.
All right. I think that's a win. We just differ. I got them at 3.
At Fresno State, at New Mexico.
Fresno coming off a bye. That's a loss. I have them beating New Mexico, but I have them losing to Wyoming.
Yep. So after that, it's Wyoming at Air Force, San Jose State. I have them going 0-3.
Yep. Me too. I have them at 4 wins.
I got them at 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, baby, for UNLV. Again, lean towards the under. It is minus 145, though, so I am not touching that.
I would not touch that at all, my friend.
Up next, we have Utah State, baby. Win total is set at 5.5, plus 115 on the over, minus 145 on the under. They are plus 2,000 to win the Mountain West.
Returning 36, 4 offensive and 5 defensive starters. The quarterback situation was a nightmare last season for the Aggies. As Bonner started, but after 4 games, hurt his foot. Then freshman Davenport took over, hurt his leg. Legagas finished the season. Now looking at it, Bonner is gone. Davenport entered the portal in the spring. So by default, your quarterback 3 from last year is this team starter. I'm not too high in him. Leading rusher Taylor is gone, but sophomore Briggs, who was productive as a freshman, is back and will be able to be a solid number 1. I think he could put up similar numbers to Tyler. Wide receivers are losing 3 of their top 5 games, but Vaughn is back to be the number 1 wide receiver. 3rd team all-conference tight end Lane is back. Plus, they added Bowerman from Stanford. Sneaky good unit. Offensive line, this unit is taking a blow as they lost their 1st team all-conference left tackle, plus their starting right guard, and their star freshman who started every game last year transferred. They have 3 guys with starter experience. They do add a transfer from ASU. This could be one of the worst units in the conference. Defensive line, interior of the defensive line is solid, but they're losing both starting defensive ends, huge blow. And if the transfers they brought in can't get to the quarterback, it's going to be a long year. Linebackers, they're losing their best one. I'm not even going to say his name to the portal because I'll botch it, but they're returning everyone else. They're getting in some key transfers.
Give it a try, Eric. Say his name.
I think this unit will be better or less than next season. Defensively, they're losing in the DBs. They're losing Reynolds, who is 3rd team all conference safety plus 4 backups. They're getting transfers from Colorado and Washington, so I think this unit could be improved with the talent entering the room. Special teams, they had a great special teams last season, but they're losing their kicker. They're adding Testa, a JUCO transfer. He can make kicks. I think this unit will be just as good as others. Overall, if they make it somehow to 6 wins, it's going to be a huge success.
I was going to say, if they make a bowl game, this team is a miracle.
But again, if they make it to 6 wins, I mean, that's remarkable. If they literally
That's huge.
I have no idea how they'd make it to 6 wins. I'm just saying, if they make it to 6 wins, who's their coach? Blake Anderson is just going to show what a sneaky genius he is.
Damn right. Damn right he is. They did themselves no favor with the out of conference, so they start the season at Iowa.
I think that's a loss.
That's a loss, baby. Idaho State at home, though?
That's a win.
Win. You win right there. Then it's at Air Force, James Madison, and at UConn.
I'm going to say 0-3.
I'm also going to say 0-3. Colorado State, Fresno State, both at home.
I think they get 1 win before the bye. So
and then at San Jose State, yeah, I'm going to give them 1 other win. So we got them at 2 wins before the bye.
Yeah.
Off the bye week, at San Diego State, Nevada at home, Boise State at home, and then at New Mexico. I think they get 2.
Yep. So that's 4.
I'm at 4. I'm sitting on the under. Again, it's minus 145, so that's gross. Not going to touch it. But
I would not touch it. All right. What do you think that line is going to be against Iowa?
Iowa minus 18.
22.
That might as well be like a 40-point spread in an Iowa game.
Yeah.
I do think their offense will be better, but I don't think it'll be good. That's how many of those points do you think Iowa's defense scores?
All of them.
Yeah, probably. Last team, Eric. We're on the last team. It's Wyoming. Our darlings of the year. The Wyoming team win total is set at 6.5. The over is plus 100, even money. Under is minus 130. They are plus 1,200 to win the Mountain West this year.
Returning 48, 5 offensive, 10 defensive starters. Former Utah State quarterback is back for year 2, being the Cowboy starter. He threw for the 2nd most yards in school history last year. I expect him to take a huge step forward. Wyoming got a huge blow in the running back room, losing their top guy, but they added Harrison Whaley, who was one of the better running backs in the MAC. I think this unit is going to be just as good as last year. Huge pickup from them. Wide receiver room, losing Cobbs is going to hurt, but they're adding Bodie from Vanderbilt, plus adding Holy Cross's number 1 guy, who is one of the better ones in that FCS division. I think this unit's going to be just as good as last year's. Offensive line, Death, Taxes, and Bull having a good offensive line. I know they're only returning 2 starters, and that is 52 career starts. But look, they just always have a good offensive line. It's just what they do. You could throw me and Jim out there playing guards, and it's going to be a solid offensive line. Defensive line, this could be one of the better defensive lines in the country. They're returning everyone. But Omoshu and Cox, who transferred in from Bama last season, only to get hurt in his first game. He is back this season. This unit's going to be able to get to the opposing quarterback. Gibbs was one of the best defenders in the conference, is back. He will head this linebacker group. Everything I'm reading online is hyping up Connor Shea. This unit is returning everyone and one of the better players in the conference. It's going to be elite. The lone defensive starter that isn't returning from this year's unit is Cameron Stone. We mentioned him before, how he's transferring out. They have 3 starters back and will have a good season because of the front seven's ability to rush the quarterback. Special teams are returning their kicker, who set a record last season for field goals made, plus their punter is back. They'll have one of the better units in the conference. Look, both you and I were low on this team last year. They had 10 players hit the portal. They were minus 57 in yards per game on the year, but somehow They were sitting at 7-3, battling Boise for first place in the Mountain West in November.
They surprised the hell out of me.
I mean, this coach is fucking nails. And that's who I wanted Michigan State to hire instead of Mel Tucker.
You want a Craig Bowl?
That's why I want Craigie.
He's won a few natties.
This year, they have a good schedule. They have experience. I took them over 6.5 wins. I also took them at 13-1 to win.
I like that. I also did both of those things. Let's get to the schedule. Texas Tech at home to start the season.
I think they're live. I really think they're live here.
What's that spread?
Dude, you know what? I wish there's a way you could get the Jeopardy music playing when I.
Oh, I should download that.
You know, but then you risk the ban though, right?
I don't think so. If it's just playing, I think you can have like the sound effects like that. We'll do this instead.
Guess that spread, Jim.
I'm gonna say Texas Tech minus 5.5.
14. Give me the 14 and the plus 540.
Yeah, give me that. Eric, you're just lucky I didn't pick this one.
What is that, dude?
That is sounds of cows having sex. Don't ask me why I have that queued up ready to go, but I got it queued up ready to go. I'm gonna put this as a loss though.
Yeah.
For the win total, but I'm with you. I think they're live.
I have them a win.
Portland State.
I have a win.
At Texas.
Call me crazy. I think that's a loss.
I think that's a loss. App State at home.
I think they win that game.
I think they could win that game. I'm going to give them a win here. So between App State or Texas Tech, I think they get one. I don't think they get both.
All right.
New Mexico at home.
Win.
Fresno at home. I think that's a win.
Win.
At Air Force.
Between Air Force and Boise, I think they win one of them.
Yeah, so after the bye week is at Boise. I'm with you. I think they win one of those.
I got them at 6 wins already.
It's huge. I got them at 5 right now. It's huge that they get a bye week between those like back-to-back away games. By the way,
that's
they could it's not inconceivable that they go 2-0 there.
No, not at all.
Colorado State at home, win.
Win.
At UNLV, win.
Win.
Hawaii at home, win.
Win.
And then at Nevada end the season, win.
I got them at 10 wins, which is a little ambitious. I'll call it 9.
I got them at 9, but I could see 10. 10's not like out of the realm of possibility.
10 is so doable.
10 is extremely doable. I'm on the over. I'm on the future. Let's just get into it, Eric. What are your futures? What are you playing future wise?
I did the Fresno State under, Wyoming over, Wyoming to win the conference, and I'll probably knock in New Mexico too.
Damn right you will. I'm on the Fresno State under. I'm on Hawaii under. I'm on the Wyoming over. Those are my only win totals. I scaled it back from the absolute avalanche of totals that I did in the MAC last week. The only conference future I'm playing is Wyoming.
Let me put this in right now.
I'm not going to touch, like, if Colorado State was like 20-1, I'd take a flyer on it.
What is New Mexico at BetOnline?
It was 3.5, and it was plus 145 on the under. Sorry, plus 110 on the over. I was looking at Nevada real quick.
Ooh. I think I'm seeing a plus 115 in another shop.
Well, shop around. That's why you shop around.
Dude, that's what I do, Jimbo.
That's why you fucking shop around. Yeah, so you're only taking the one conference future in Wyoming as well, right?
One conference future. I have 3 over-unders that I'm locking in.
Same. I think we're lockstep in this conference. Chase, I believe, also took Fresno State. Just to confirm that, he did take Fresno State as well. And then he's on UNLV over 6, Utah State over 5.5, and Wyoming over 6.5.
Can I vent for a minute?
Go ahead.
I freaking hate how these books don't put these over-unders in fucking alphabetical order.
That And dude, I was talking about that last week, and I was talking about Bet Online is so bad about that, where they put they sometimes flip flop where they put the over and the under, which one's on top and which one's on bottom. Just do it all the same. Just do it all the fucking same.
Look, I just want consistency.
Please.
Don't ask for much in life. I don't ask for much in life.
I asked for a Wyoming win in the Mountain West. That's what I'm going to ask for.
That's not much in life at all.
It shouldn't be, damn it. So that'll do it for this episode of the College Football Tailgate Mountain West Conference Preview. Eric, where can the people find you?
At eTalk21 on the Twitter, the Gram, everywhere, on YouTube. Yeah, that's got some good stuff happening. Friend of the program, Gino, and I have our DRF sportsbook show called Winning Bets, premiering this Friday.
Nice. Attaboy. You can find this guy and me every Wednesday on Spring Fever, talking about all the best alternative football leagues, XFL, USFL, CFL, X League, ELF, ILF, the whole shebang boodle bang boos. You can find me everywhere at XFL Jim. You guys know where to find me. XFL Jim everywhere. It's going to be a fun. This is actually kind of weird for me. This is kind of like my off season.
Do you feel a little weird?
Well, I still have the CFL keeping me afloat and like keeping everything going, but it does feel weird not to be like constantly thinking about football all the time, but I'm still thinking about football all the time.
It's a weird time, dude.
It's weird.
It's a weird time. Hey, buddy, let me ask you this, dude. You know what you should do?
What should I do?
You should film one of those Grimace Shake bits that are all over TikTok.
It's too played out now. I can't do it. I'd be jumping on. Mantis, our buddy Mantis did one, and it was awesome.
Nah, I've never met this guy.
Great dude. Great dude. Friend of the show, Mantis. Good dude. You guys know where to find me. You know where to find Eric. You know where to find Chase at Of Oaklawn on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you tune into his podcast, Notorious OTB, over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Make sure you tune into our shows, Eric, every Tuesday and Friday. You guys know where to find us. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the College